have made a presentation that will be coming in next few minutes. But before that, I just try to relate COBOL with one of the super personality, which everyone is aware about it. So it is none other than our தலைவர் Rajinikanth. So the reason is it's very simple. Like everyone's life has ups and downs. Like that for COBOL also, it is like that. In early 80s, where exactly the computer era is started. So that is the point exactly where COBOL come to the picture. But that point, I was heard like it is typically developed for security and army profile. Like for we have defense system, so they want a more secure system for defense, and they develop a code called COBOL. But that actually doesn't work. So this is the same year where our superstar get into the picture of cinema. But that point he was like doing small roles and short roles like that. In early 90s, where we all know the computer era started dominating the human era, which means all the human support converted into a computer based applications. So this is the point exactly where COBOL has become a huge master in computer era. So similarly, our தலைவர் in 90s, he started dominating the our industry, like cine industry. So that is the exact point where we started calling him as superstar. So exactly in same 90s, COBOL is also started booming and everyone started learning COBOL. At that point, COBOL is like the reason why people picked COBOL is this is exactly where all the applications, whatever the human related work, started converting to computer based applications, which mean for an example, banking and ticketing system, airlines, everything. But there is a question like how we are going to handle the data. We know like if with the 10 people, we can easily give the access and we can easily get the data from them and we can process it. But consider it's a worldwide application. How people going to use it? And how relay the system is going to be, as well as the security, because it's going to contain a demographic detail, as well as in right now we have Aadhaar, but in US and other countries they have something called SSN, Social Security Number. They feel like those 9-digit number is something more secured thing. Like with that 9-digit number, we can easily tell what that person is going to do and what he does in the past. So all the security reasons to be handled, and that is a place where COBOL come to the picture, and it started developed, and it's still developing. So similarly, 90s, Superstar started the career and he started giving lots and lots of blockbusters, and we started calling him as a superstar. And even though there are key players in the field, but still he managed to prove himself as a superstar by giving continuous blockbusters. So and then it comes to 20s, like our mood switch, right? So like that, we got another players into the field, like we got some other heroes. I don't want to point out the names, and we started switching our eyes, like okay, this guy is doing better than this guy, like that. So similarly for COBOL also, we got some competitors like Java, as well as that time Java played a key role. We don't have that more machine language, because now Python, React, JS, they are like some 6 to 7 years. Correct me if I'm wrong. So they all started like before 7 years, before Corona, I think. So all these applications started booming. But at that point, Java is the only application where COBOL need to defend himself. So this is exactly where again COBOL proved like I am the master here, because when Java come to the picture and it's an open source system, everyone is aware about it. But there are two key things where Java can't compete with COBOL. One is security, second one is data handling. So similarly, when you take a தலைவர் career, there are two things. One is the consistency. Like he started giving blockbuster continuously, even though there are new players in the field, as well as the confident on him, like the producers. They will sure like if they get a call sheet from தலைவர், surely they're going to make double the money. So that is a confident what தலைவர் gave to the producers, like how COBOL do this. And in after 20s, we know what happened. So all new technology come to the picture and everything started changing. People started moving to AI and lots and lots of new applications. Nowadays, it's like for every 2 or 3 days, we are getting new applications. So this is what we are going to build and what it does. And again, AI that will almost reduce 60% of human effort in development things. So everything come to the picture. Now here also same thing has happened. So with COBOL, we got more machine language thing, Python and other applications. So again, COBOL proved once again here, but this time there is a lag, there is a drop here. I accept it, but still it is proving. That's because the handling capacity, the data handling capacity, which none of the other application can't do it, but Cobol did it again, as well as the security. When it comes to security, now almost all the applications, they are all key about like the security is an important role. Same thing with the Cobol. He once again, most of the banking domain, like if you take banking, core banking, they still have Cobol at their background application, even though the front end application become more modernized rule, but still they follow the legacy application, Cobol at the background. So this is what I try to relate it with someone. Like I believe this would give you small explanation like what it is and how it works and what where we are right now. So let me push you to the presentation. I'll share my screen. So it's a small agenda. I'm not going to take more time about it. It's just a few points. But like I said, it's not too technical. I'm not going to type any coding here and going to show you magic C 1 plus 1 is 2. That's how I write my code. So just an explanation like how it behaves, where it applied, and what are all the techniques involved in it, some frameworks like that. So first thing is introduction. So I'm not going to take each point and I'm not going to explain everything, but this key areas which is highlighted, maybe you could have read it by yourself. Like what is COBOL? Like I said, it's a common business oriented language. Initially, it was developed for defense, and then they thought like it is too expensive because we all know like how much money every country is spending on defense mechanism. So plus this spending on this one is again creating a huge for them, so they just dropped it. And then later on, it moved to other applications like banking and finance sector like that. So it was 50s it started, but in 50s it was not that much effective. And later on 60s it started to dominate. IBM is the owner, key owner actually. So they started implementing in their application, but even though it is still huge, and later on in 70s they reduced it, they make it as reliable, I mean cost effective, and in 80s potentially started using in all the applications. So like I said, the domains where it can be applied is finance and administrative system. Administrative system is nothing but kind of again banking only, so where we will be administrating the data. So like I said, even though it looks like a black screen where I'll be typing lots and lots of code, it's a simple language where the syntax are quite reliable. I mean, you can easily pick it up. And like I said, legacy support. Many of the legacy systems like banking, finance sectors, they still rely on it. So these are all the key features of COBOL. Like I said, the syntax is more quite like it's kind of interaction. Hey, hi, how are you? This is how the COBOL syntax looks like. So push the input to this file. This is how the coding standard looks like, but I'm not going to show any codes here. Like I said, just a overview. And then data handling. This again plays a key role why COBOL is too much dominant right now, because consider when we are migrating from human efforts where we kept all the information in a paper and we are converting it to a data bytes, and then we need to process it. It's not going to be a simple thing, and COBOL does the work for us. So whatever the data numbers, that doesn't matter, but still COBOL able to handle it quite easily. And legacy system, you will be seeing this legacy system throughout these slides, because this is the where COBOL proved itself like it is the master of legacy system handling. And business focused, and like I said, it's for the record management, like the data. And then the syntax, like I said, for each language, they have a structure to be followed. For an example, if you see C, there are some libraries where you need to include before you start your code, as well as in Java, where you need to, where there is a main class, under it you need to define your methods like that. So similarly, for COBOL, we also have a structure. So there are four important things like identification, environment, data, and procedure like that. But it's quite simple. Like the name itself gives you what you're going through in that specific section. And the applications. So most of the business application in early 90s, they started implementing COBOL, even though it is too costly, but still companies started acquiring it. The reason is it is a master in data handling, like I said, and security, as well as coding is quite simple. Like easily we can write what is actually required. And like I said, it is primarily used for the government based application, like and government applications that has more potential of using more data in it. So that's why they started utilizing in government based application. But later on it was like globalized, like everyone can use it until they pay it. So like I said, legacy system again. So like financial institutions like bank and what else we can say, like the ledgers, government based applications they use to have the data about our data in Aadhaar is quite simple example for government based application. All this will be considered as a legacy based applications. So in the legacy based application there are some key factors like processing time should be reduced, should be quick, because when we go to the counter, like we are reaching a bank and we are asking for some information about our account. Consider they say like, okay, come next day, you will be getting everything. We will be definitely shocked. But Cobol does the work for us. Even though they have lakhs and lakhs of customer and millions of transactions, still it is quite quick in processing the information for us. That's why it is called as a legacy system master. So again, now time flies by. So everything got its switches. Java is now made different faces for it, like React JS and Node JS, everything like that. Now people started, even though it's late, I agree. Now they started realizing like, okay, it's time to modernize the COBOL. What we are going to do, how we are going to do it. So even though it's late, but still they are effectively working on modernizing the COBOL here. So there are three important factors in modernizing the COBOL thing. Like we can't directly go and modernize the tool and okay, it is ready here. It's not going to happen with COBOL. Whereas in Java and other application, it is because Java and other applications are open source. So when it comes to open source, everyone can play with it. Everyone can do whatever they need and they can showcase it. But when it comes to COBOL, it is not an open source environment. So that's again a drawback, I accept. But this is the point where the security also plays to the picture. Until unless it is not an open source environment, still people rely on them. Okay, it is something more secure than an open source system. So there are three modernization technique that is required for modernizing the COBOL. First one is code analysis. Nowadays we have lots and lots of packages. Like when we put that package, definitely the code is going to work like that. But when it comes to COBOL, there is no package system, which means all the codes are written like for an example, simple hello world will cost you around minimum 6 line of code for COBOL. Okay, similarly for the applications that is processing the huge data, obviously it is going to have minimum 1,000 or max of whatever the numbers you can lines of code in it. So until unless code properly, you can't directly modernize the code. So this is again a area where it can be called as a gray area, because we don't know how system behave. Like with 5,000 code in place, the 2,500 code solidly, like this is the behavior, but another 2,500 code you're not sure about it, like how it behaves. Then this is again a problem why the modernization technique of COBOL is still taking time. And modularization, both code analysis and modularization can be same. And the standard, like we said, whatever we do, end of the day, the system should be standard. That again, with COBOL, even though we modernize it, there are some area where the standard drops. So all these three thing taken to the picture when it comes to refactoring. And we also the same thing what we just discussed. So if you want, you can go through it. So if you notice here, like I said, break a large program into a smaller modular function. That is what the modernization, like if we have a code of 10,000 line, so what we can do is we split up the code into 10 different modules with 1,000 line each in it. So that is again, even though it is modernization technique, again we are building 10 plus application into one. So this is something called reversing. This is actually working taking nowadays. So most of the time all the company go with this approach. That's because it is quite a workable technique. So migration the COBOL into a new infrastructure, minimal code change. So they're not going to make maximum code changes here. What they are going to do here is they're just going to make small code change that will be that is needed for this migration. For an example, if you're going to push your code to a cloud-based application, you just need some changes in your code that will again support along with the cloud and the infrastructure. So basically, when it comes to infrastructure, most of the time it was like IBM machines that will handle the COBOL system like that. But now we got AWS cloud, everything. So where you will be pushing your code to the cloud-based application and cloud will take care of everything. And simulator, we also have emulator. Previously it was not like you can stimulate this code with some stimulation application. You need to write the code in the COBOL machine and you need to compile it and you need to get the output. But nowadays we got emulator where you will be write your COBOL code and you can directly compile and check the outputs like online applications. So replatforming again, this is second mostly used modernization technique. Again, this is quite cost effective. Like when compared to the first one, this is the technique where the cost is little reduced. So again, the same migration to the new platform, and then the conversion of COBOL into a Java or C# language. So when the transformation happening, there are some chances where the exact logic can't be put into other language because COBOL it's a business language, and Java and other C# they have the OOPS concept in it. So we need experts here to convert this business application to an OOPS application. So again, there is some lag, but people are experts are there, they can work on it. And like we have AI applications, like most of AI application nowadays, they do the work for us. So even though it is, but there is some discrepancies, but people are still working on it. Those will be coming under tooling applications. And microservice architecture is none other than this is most commonly used modernization technique. Like what they will do, they will split up the 1,000 line into 10 line, and each modules will be called when it is required. So when there is a call to, for an example, consider we have an application where ticket booking application. Okay, so we need to book a ticket for a movie. Now for Chennai region, they have a code because they have a different payment structure. For Bangalore, we have a different payment structure. So initially, all the codes were written in single module that will have logic for all Chennai and Bangalore, etc. But now with this microservice approach, they have split up the modules into multiple modules, single module into multiple module. And when a user from Chennai try to access it, only the Chennai modules will be called, which means time consumption is reduced, cost effective, as well as the performance is improved. So this is where the microservice architecture come to the picture. And I'm not giving you exactly what microservice works here. I'm just giving you an example so that you can relate it. This is how the microservice works. Again, for every application, we need supporting tool and framework. Likewise, we also have such thing in COBOL. So nowadays, we have lots of debugging tools. When we type, we will be getting error. So this is the line where it is missed. You need to work on it. But previously, initial days, it is like you need to compile each time. You need to get the result. You need to debug where the problem arises, and you need to identify the problematic record. But nowadays, we have lots of debugging tool that will help us to debug the problem easily, as well as integration tool. Like we have the version control tool. Previously, it was like only one application that is used all over where the COBOL is used. But nowadays we have lots of version control applications that is used. So again, future of COBOL, like I said, தலைவர் is still a superstar, and even though there is drop, there is flops, and there is some unwanted diversion in his career, but still his name is in the top of the table. So similarly, there are many applications came to the picture, like many started dominating it. Now it is AI time. So lots and lots of applications rely on AI. And in AI also we have multiple versions, but still wherever COBOL already proved itself, it is still dominating it. So we still, you might have heard like most of the top banks, they still rely on COBOL because they know how COBOL works, and they still didn't get a confident on other applications. And we also have a community. Like this is something where we people used to chat like I have this problem, how it can be solved, because this is the last endpoint where you will be at least getting a solution, because it's a legacy system. We don't know exactly behavior, and some of the errors which we are getting is not quite reliable, like what it is, and we can't identify where the issue is. So in this point we reach our community, and most of the time 70% maybe we will get the results. And training and resources, nowadays we have lots of online applications where you can learn COBOL. And when it comes to COBOL, it is not a single application that is running on mainframe. We also have JCL. Most of the time JCL and COBOL works together, but nowadays instead of JCL we have other applications, and COBOL alone is a single plays a standalone applications. And that's all from the slide. So if you have any questions, you can. Should I take that silent as my PPT is clear? Thanks all. Thanks,
Yeah,
Mitusha.
thank you. Yeah.
Thank
Bye bye.
you.